subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the opportunity and the tawfiq to be at Masjid al-Rasul on this Friday night. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your Jama'ah prayers, inshallah. At the beginning of the program, on behalf of our board and myself, please accept my condolences upon Hazrat Zahra salamun alayha's shahada. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us the true followers of Hazrat Zahra salamun alayha and the rest of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, inshallah. We will start off our program tonight with a citation of Quran as usual, followed by Farsi and English translations. On the second session, for now, we have a presentation by one of the Taha Academy students. If there's anybody who has prepared any articles, please let me know so I can give you some time. Otherwise, we will have the speech on the third session, inshallah. Our guest speaker tonight is Hujjatul Islam, Sayyid Abbas Razavian. We thank him for driving a long way to come to Masjid al-Rasul and speak for us. We appreciate it. And the title of tonight's program will be, How Does Remembering Fatimeh to Zahra Impact Me? That's the title of tonight's speech, inshallah. But until then, I welcome Haj Karim Bassam to come to podium. I welcome him to podium to recite verses 50 through 60 of Surah Mubarakeh Yunus with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali
Muhammad. Salamun alaykum wa rahmatullah. بعرض تسلیت به مناسبت شهادت بیبی دو عالم بیبی فاطمه زهرا سلام الله علیها و واقعه جانگداز سوختن در خانه نبوت و امامت و صلوات بلند انشاءالله. اللهم صل على محمد و آل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل لا أملك لنفسي ضرا ولا نفعا إلا ما شاء الله. لكل أمة أجل إذا جاء أجلهم فلا يستأخرون الساعة ولا يستقدمون. قل أرأيتم إن أتاكم عذاب بياتا أو نارا ماذا يستعجل منه المجرمون. أثم إذا ما وقع آمنتم به الآن وقد كنتم به تستعجلون. ثم قيل للذين ظلموا ذوقوا عذاب الخلد هل تجزون إلا بما كنتم تكسبون. ويستنبئونك حق الحق وما أنتم بمعجزين ولو أن لكل نفس ظلمت ما في الأرض لافتدت به وأسروا الندامة لما رأوا العذاب وقضي بينهم بالقسط وهم لا يظلمون ألا إن لله ما في السماوات والأرض ألا إن وعد الله حق ولكن أكثرهم لا يعلمون هو يحيي ويميت وإليه ترجعون يا أيها الناس قد جاءتكم موعظة من ربكم وشفاء لما في صدور وهدى ورحمة للمؤمنين قل بفضل الله وبرحمته فبذلك فليفرحوا هو خير مما يجمعون قل أرأيتم ما أنزل الله لكم من رزق فجعلتم منه حراما وحلالا قل الله أذن لكم أم على الله تفترون وما ظن الذين يفترون على الله الكذب يوم القيامة إن الله لذو فضل على الناس ولكن أكثرهم لا يشكرون سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين الفاتحة مع الإخلاص وقبل ما الصلوات
وآل محمد وعجل فرجه أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم بگو من مالک سود و زیان خود نیستم جز آنچه خدا می‌خواهد برای هر امتی مدت زمانی مقرر است هنگامی که مهلتشان به سر رسید نمی‌توانند ساعتی آن را به تأخیر اندازند و نه ساعتی جلو ببرند بگو چگونه می‌بینید اگر عذاب او به هنگام شب یا به وقت روز به شما برسد گناهکاران کدام قسمت از آن عذاب را به شتاب خواهند خواست آیا آنگاه که عذاب وقوع می‌یابد بالاخره به آن ایمان خواهید آورد پس گفته خواهد شد آیا اکنون در حالی که بیشتر رسیدن شتاب داشتید سپس به ستمکاران گفته خواهد شد عذاب دائم را بچشید آیا جز آنچه به دست آورده اید کیفر میبینید؟ میخواهند به وسیله تو باخبر بشوند که آیا آن حق است؟ بگو آری، به پروردگارم سوگند که آن کاملا راست و حق است و شما را گریزی از آن نیست. خدا را ناتوان نتوانید یافت. هر نفس گناهکاری اگر همه آنچه در روی زمین است مالک میشد، برای بازخرید عذاب با کمال میل آن را فدیه میداد. هنگامی که عذاب را ببیند هزار پشیمانی خواهد کرد، اما بینشان به عدل داوری خواهد شد و بر آنها ستمی نخواهد رفت. مگر نه این است آنچه در آسمانها و زمین است از آن خداست؟ مگر نه این است که وعده خدا حق است، ولیکن بیشتر آنها نمیدانند. اوست که زندگی میبخشد و میمیراند و همه به سوی او بازگردانیده میشوند. ای مردم، برای شما از سوی پروردگارتان پندی آمده است، شفایی است برای بیماری های دلهایتان و راهنما و رحمتی است برای مؤمنان. بگو به فضل خدا و رحمت او شادمان باشند. این از ثروتی که گرد می آورند بهتر است. بگو آیا می بینید چه چیزهایی را خدا برای روزی شما نازل کرده است؟ پس بعضی از آنها را حرام قرار می دهید و بعضی را حلال. بگو آیا خدا به شما اجازه داده است یا به او افترا می زنید؟ و گمان آنان که با دروغها به خدا افترا می زنند در روز قیامت چی می تواند باشد؟ براستی که خدا در حق مردم صاحب کرم بسیار است، ولی بیشترشان شکر نمی کنند. صدق الله العلی العظیم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Say, I have no control over any benefit for myself, nor over any harm, except what Allah may wish. There is a time for every nation. When their time comes, they shall not defer it by a single hour, nor shall they advance it. Say, tell me, should his punishment overtake you by night or day, you will not be able to avert it. So what part of it do the guilty seek to hasten? What? Do you believe in it when it has befallen? Now, while you would seek to hasten it earlier? Then it will be said to those who were wrongdoers, taste the everlasting punishment. Shall you be requited except for what you used to earn? They inquire of you, is it true? Say, yes, by my Lord, it is true, and you cannot frustrate him. Were any soul that has done wrong to possess whatever there is on the earth, it will surely offer it for ransom. They will hide their remorse when they sight the punishment, and judgment will be made between them with justice, and they will not be wronged. Behold, to Allah indeed belongs whatever is in the heavens and the earth. Behold, Allah's promise is indeed true, but most of them do not know. It is He who gives life and brings death, and to Him you shall be brought back. O mankind, there has certainly come to you an advice from your Lord, and cure for what is in the breast, and guidance and mercy for the faithful. Say, in Allah's grace and His mercy, let them rejoice in that. It is better than what they amass. Say, have you regarded what Allah has sent down for you of His provision, whereupon you have made some of it unlawful and some lawful? Say, did Allah give you the sanction to do so, or do you fabricate lies against Allah? What is the idea of those who fabricate lies against Allah concerning their own situation on the day of resurrection? Allah is indeed gracious to mankind, but most of them do not give thanks. JazakAllah Aliyul Azim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Thank you to Brother Haj Karim Bassam, Brother Dr. Nikmart, and Brother Abdul Razak Khul for recitation of Quran and Farsi and English translations. On the second session of our tonight program, as I mentioned at the beginning, we have a presentation by one of our Taha Academy students. If they are ready, they can come forward. Do I have a name? Are they ready? Okay, until they are getting ready, I can have Haj Malam Hamkar to come forward and recite a poem for us. But after Haj Malam Hamkar, please be ready so we can, they're ready? Okay, we will have poetry after the presentation, inshallah. For the health of our Taha Academy students, please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
You can click next to go to the next.
So like right here. This one, the arrow.
Whenever you're ready, so
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My school has did a assignment to do a project about hadith about Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and these are my classmates, and today we're gonna present some hadiths by Imam Ali and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So please have a big salawat for us. Thank you. So starting, Assalamu alaikum, my name is Zain, and starting off with me, my question was for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Here, what are good names for my kids? And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I searched up, and he said, name your child after the prophets, and he had multiple reasons, and a lot of them were good. So I only wrote down 3, and I think these are the most important ones. So, number 1, the name of these children are called day and night. They be called this name day and night, and it's very important. And number 2, those names subconsciously strengthens those. And number 3, most people nowadays encourage weak names for the children of our next generation or of our generation right now, rather than continuing the legacy of our imams and prophets. Example of good names include Muhammad, Adam, Musa, Ibrahim, Hussein, Hassan, Isa, Noah, and so many more. And also another reason why these names, those names subconsciously strengthens the children, and it also subconsciously strengthens your relationship with your children. It's very important, and that's why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam named the children. Please have a salawat. And
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Hamza Hosseini, and today for my hadith from Imam Ali, my question was, what should be my goal when I'm asking a question? By Imam Ali. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ask in order to understand, and do not ask in order to find fault. For surely ignorant man who wants to learn resembles a man of knowledge. And surely a man of knowledge who wants to be difficult resembles an ignorant man who wants to find fault. The main idea of this hadith is that asking with the intent to understand creates a knowledgeable man, while asking someone something to make them look bad creates an ignorant man. We should always ask questions to increase our knowledge and never to disrespect anyone for that reason. This is relevant to today due to the mass amount of ignorance in our world, and so many people asking questions for the sake of arguing instead of learning. An example of this is if you're asking a question, you should only ask it to learn from it, and you should not ask to make the other person you're asking look bad. Salawat.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shoaib Karimi, and Imam Ali alayhi salam said, The man of knowledge is the one who recognizes that what is known is very little compared to what is not known, and as a result, he considers himself ignorant. And accordingly, he increases his efforts to know more by going out in search of knowledge. The main idea of this hadith is understanding that you don't know everything and there's much more to learn. We can apply this in our daily lives by remembering we are not perfect and that even when we think we know everything we need, we still need to learn more. From this hadith, we can tell that Imam Ali alayhi salam was a very humble person who understood the value of knowledge. An example of this is that a student thinks that he does not need to attend his Islamic school because he thinks he already knows all of it. Well, there's much more to learn. Salawat.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Ali Haidar Ahmed, and today I'm going to be presenting my question with an answer from a hadith. The question is that will the oppressors of the people in Palestine and Lebanon get punished? The hadith is that عن أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام قال يوم العدل على الظالم أشد من يوم الجور على المظلوم. The translation is that the day of justice will be severer on the oppressors than the day of oppression on the oppressed. The meaning is that Allah gives the opportunity for good people to repent. However, for evil people, Allah gives them opportunities to become more evil, and then the punishment will be more severe. As Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah, page 3, ayah 15, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Allah yastahzi'u bihim wa yamudduhum fi tughyanihim ya'mahun. This ayah means Allah mocks them and leaves them bewildered in their transgression. We should be certain that Allah's justice will prevail. Salawat.
Thank you to our Taha Academy students' presentation. They really did a good job, and it clearly showed that they put a lot of time and effort to find those hadith, and they delivered it the best way that they could. One more time, for their health and for their respected families, please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajal faraj. And now از محترم حاج معلم همکار خواهش میکنم که تشریف بیارن و قطع شعر را که در نظر گرفتن را به سمع شما برسانن. سرسلامتی خودتان و حاج معلم همکار رسالت صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد. اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد.
بر محمد و اهل بیت محمد صلوات. سالگرد شهادت جانگداز حضرت زهرا سلام الله علیها را به پیشگاه ولی عصر جعفر شریف و دوستان حضور دارن تسلیت عرض می‌نماییم. حضرت رسول اکرم صلی الله علیه وسلم فرمود که فاطمه پاره تن من است. هر کس که او را اذیت کند مرا اذیت کرده و هر کس مرا اذیت کند خداوند ناراض ساخته. متاسفانه بعد از شهادت وفات اکرم صلی الله علیه وسلم آب غسل بزرگوار هنوز خشک نشده بود که بی ظلمها را متحمل شد که شمه از اونا با عرض دوستان به عرض میرسانم. ای سرخ شدم با خون سر و سیمایت وی مسجد کوفه خالی از نجوایت هرگز نبود مصیبتی در عالم علی جان جان سوزتر از مصیبت زهرایت خانه پروانه را تا آتش بیگانه سوخت بچه پروانه هم ازش چون پروانه سوخت شعله آتش بسوی آسمان تا شد بلند شمع صاحب در شرارش محسن یک دانه سوخت محبت جبریل را نمرودیان آتش زدن کاخ علم و معرفت را بین چی بی رحمان سوخت با غلاف تیغ زد کنفوس به بازوی بطول هر کی دید این منظره از خویش و از بیگانه سوخت شب نمی خوابید بانو تا سحر از ضرب درد گاز ضرب پالویش گاهی ز دردشان سوخت ماتم زهرا علی را چنان در هم شکست تا بدر ماتم ان گوهر یک دانه سوخت بارا گو پیامبر که علی جان من است بجان قلب و اسم محمد صلوات
و با تشکر و سپاس فراوان از محترم حاج معلم همکار. Before I go to our regular announcements, there's some green tea with some cardamom, chai sabz wa hil. It's been here under podium since the days of Martyrdom, I believe. And every Friday I come in, I try to announce it that if somebody owns it, please take it, or if you brought it as a gift to somebody, please let me know. I will keep this until tomorrow night, inshallah, if the person doesn't come forward. Okay, alhamdulillah, we got it. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. With that being said, our second session has finished at this point. Our programs, tomorrow our Taha Academy will be in session starting 9:30, so please make sure to drop off your students 5 or 10 minutes before that time so the classes can start timely. And also please remember that we have another program tomorrow night at 7 p.m. honoring Hazrat Zahra salamun alayha's shahada and departure. So one more time, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. we also have program, and our guest speaker for tomorrow night as well will be Sheikh Sayyid Abbas Razavian, inshallah. With that being said, please see Brother Haj Zia Yamili and Brother Sayyid Razak and make sure that your monthly pledges are up to date and paid. For whatever reason, if you're behind, and if you can bring it up to date, that would be greatly appreciated. It's been a while that I haven't announced the price for the food. Every time that the masjid serves food, it costs about $700. Now, if you can sponsor for one night, the entire $700, that would be great. But if you don't have that much, and if you want to contribute $200, $300, even $100, that would be acceptable as well. All you have to do is that when you are paying that to Brother Zia or Brother Sayyid Razak, please make sure to let them know that this money is to be spent on the food. So that way they can keep track and record it accordingly. With that being said, again, as I mentioned, please one more time, tomorrow night we have an honoring of Hazrat Zahra salamun alayha's departure. We have another program tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Masjid al-Rasul, inshallah. The title of tonight's speech is, How Does Remembering Fatimeh to Zahra Impact Me? And now I welcome Sheikh Abbas Razavian, Sayyid Abbas Razavian to Munbar for the speech with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
محمد أهل بيت محمد صلوات
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيتي الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. It's a great pleasure being here and being able to mourn and commemorate the martyrdom of Sayyidat Fatimeh Zahra alayhi salam together. When we perform actions, we are looking for an impact. We are looking for an effect. And if you were to ask me, what is one of those special things you can do to change your life, to make sure we are on the right path? One of them, and one of the most important, is remembering Fatimeh Zahra alayhi salam. Many times people come to majalis and they think that Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salam owe them something because they attended. Sometimes people, they work in masjids, they volunteer, and they think that now Allah has to answer their dua. But that's not the way that Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salam were themselves. They would always feel indebted and always feel in gratitude. They would always feel that Allah has blessed them with a great responsibility. And that when we attend these majalis for Sayyidah Fatimeh alayhi salam, we have to know that Allah has given us a great favor. Where else could you be? For example, Friday night, Los Angeles area. You could be anywhere. Where could our children be Friday night? The fact that we are in the masjid, the fact that we're under the umbrella of Sayyidah Fatimeh alayhi salam, for us is a great gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, when you attend these majalis, when you work for Ahlul Bayt, truly feel that Allah has given you favor. Allah has blessed you with allowing you to do khidmah and serve. There's a person whose father was the servant of Imam Askari alayhi salam, the 11th Imam. And he also wanted to be the khadim and servant of Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam as Samirra. What a great honor it is to see the Imam. Imagine when you're a servant, how much of an opportunity do you have for special conversation? How much of an opportunity you have to learn and to watch the Imam pray, to recite Quran. You have the best instructor in front of you. So therefore, this son made dua that his mom told him, why don't you become a khadim? Why don't you be a servant of the Imam? So the mom told him, go to the city of Karbala. I believe they're in the Kufa region. Go to the city of Karbala. It is the 15th of Sha'ban. Go there under the dome, or go there next to the shrine, or next to the grave of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and make the special dua. So the son goes. requesting to be a servant of Imam Askari alayhi salam. Right when he goes out, he leaves, the tradition has that Imam Askari alayhi salam had informed someone, Allah had informed someone, that this person is coming out to meet him. And he says to him, miraculously, that the Imam has accepted you. The Imam has accepted you. Imagine, right after he comes out, he gets accepted. How happy he was. He asks, do I have to leave now? Or can I go back and say goodbye to my mother, say good, and get my belongings? Because I'm going to be living in Samarra. So they allow him, he goes, gets his belongings, and he goes, and now he's going to make the trip to Samarra. I don't know how many here have been blessed to visit Imam Askari, Imam Hadi alayhi salam in Samarra. When you go from Kufa to Samarra, what city do you pass? Besides Karbala, you pass Baghdad. You pass Baghdad. And it was a major city. So after passing Baghdad, he's going on his way to Samarra. He meets one of his old friends. Old friends. And he says, wow, how interesting it is you're here. You came at a good time. This is the time that the Christians are celebrating. I don't know, was it Christmas? Was it something? I don't know what it was in Iraq at that time. They were celebrating. He says, what do I have to do? Imagine in his mind, he is going to be a servant of the Imam. So he says, what do I have to do with being, for example, participating in these Christian events? Muslim. He says, come on. It's all you know how peer pressure works. Sometimes it's one of the most strongest of influences is peer pressure. He says, okay, I'll come with you. His friend says, why don't you join us just one night? He says, okay. And then he says, alcohol is being served there. He's going to be a khadim. Alcohol is going to be served there. What do I have to do? I'm Muslim. What do I have to do with alcohol? He says, come on, it's one night. It's just one night. Come on, peer pressure. And he drinks, and he does whatever he does. When he's drunk, wakes up the next morning, ajab. I was supposed to be the khadim, and now I have committed this terrible sin and sins. He still continues his path. They say he goes to Samarra. There, before seeing the Imam, out of, maybe out of fear or whatever, he takes a bath. He goes to masjid, prays. And the servant comes to him. The messenger comes to him and says to him, this is your money. This is your return money. Because the Imams are generous. This is your money to go back. The Imam mentions that we do not want a servant like this. We do not want a servant like this. So even before becoming khadim, he failed. So therefore, you see from this story, the moral of this story is that when you either participate or you volunteer, if God forbid you make mistakes, you sin, or if God forbid you're not appreciative of that gift, God takes that gift away from you. So if you come with this attitude to the majlis of Ahlul Bayt, that Ahlul Bayt owe me something, I have done something great, then you're not appreciative of Ahlul Bayt. You have to come here as a true khadim, a pak, a pure khadim of Ahlul Bayt, and keep saying, Alhamdulillah, thank you for giving me love of Ahlul Bayt. Thank you, Allah, for giving me love of this family, because love of this family is Sirat al-Mustaqim, is the right path. They are the Sirat. And the Ziyarah says, Antum as-Sirat al-Aqwam. You are the right path. You are the strong path. So therefore, we have to understand that these majalis and these remembrances are very impactful. We have to appreciate it because we have to truly feel as we have been invited, every one of us. And I have seen myself very easily, people, because of mistakes they make or not appreciating this, slowly, Allah takes this away from them. Hopefully we live in the majalis of Ahlul Bayt and we die, inshallah, in the majalis of Ahlul Bayt. Recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala. Tonight we're remembering a very holy lady. A lady that throughout the Quran speaks about her. when you want to see the personality of someone, count how many verses of Quran are about them. Count the verses. Because many people, there are many personalities in Islam who they think are the greatest, or the best, but actually Quran has either nothing about them or has the opposite about them, for example. But the path that we have chosen by ourselves, or the path that our parents have blessed us with, is the path with lots of evidence from the Holy Quran. Sayyidat Fatimeh, according to Quran, is unparalleled. Nobody is like her, according to Quran. When you look, for example, 33:33 in Surah Al-Ahzab, which is called the verse of purification, that Ahlul Bayt are tathir or tahir, and Allah wants to take them away from rijs and sin. Nobody else has such a verse about them. This family, who are they now? Is Ahlul Bayt family? Because usually when you say in Arabic, you can say Ahlul Bayt means my family and wives. But very clearly they asked Rasulullah, wife asked Rasulullah, can I enter? Can I be part of this cloak? And Rasulullah mentioned, Ha'ula'i Ahlul Bayt. They are my Ahlul Bayt. You cannot enter. They are my Ahlul Bayt. He defined it. And this tradition is in Sahih Muslim. One of our Shia scholars who was Wahhabi became Shia, Dr. Imad Isam. He argued with one of the prevalent Sunni scholars by the name of Uthman Khamis, and says this, Ahlul Bayt, do you want to define it? Rasulullah has to define it. And defines it, Sahih Muslim says, Ha'ulai Ahlul Bayt. Are you going to argue with Rasulullah who Ahlul Bayt are? He said, these five. She is immaculate because it is the irada of Allah, yuridullah liyudhiba ankum ar-rijs. Allah wants and wills. Allah's divine will is kun fayakun. If He wants something, it will be. He wants them to be away from rijs, so they will be away from rijs. She's infallible, ma'asum, according to the Holy Quran. In the verse of Mubahila 361, Sayyidina Fatimeh alayhi salam, when you see the Christians come and they want to challenge the Muslimin in dua, some say 70, 80 holy Christians, maybe long beards, canes, coming to make dua and prayer against the Muslims. Now, if it was your logic, you would try to get a large number of people, because the more amount of Muslims, the better it is, the more of a chance of success. When the Quran says, bring your women, what is the difference from nisa and imra'a? And nisa means women. Imra'a is one woman. It says, bring your women, bring the ladies. Make them come for dua. And obviously you have lots of holy ladies at that time, right? There are many good ladies. But Rasulullah, of course commanded by Allah, only brings one. Because one was sufficient. And one is incomparable. No lady can even be with her status, can even walk next to her in this way. That is why Ayatollah Makaram Shirazi says one of her titles is Al-Batul, meaning to be separated from all other ladies. No other lady can be included in her status. So therefore, you see, Quran mentions her dua is sufficient for Islam to be successful and victorious against the Christians at that time. They see, and they were actually smart. I actually respect this action that the Christians did then. They saw these holy faces, and they said, I see faces that if they pray, mountains will crumble. When they saw Rasulullah, Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, Lady Fatimeh says, if they make dua, mountains will crumble. I wish that some of the Muslimin had this amount of ma'rafah. Sometimes Imam Askari, I saw him tradition, sometimes says this, it's so sad. He says that the Christians or A'raf know us more than the Muslimin. Imam Hassan Askari, look, because they would invite him for shafa and dua. They invite him to cure. It says in the tradition, and the books of history mentions that they are A'raf, they know us more than the Muslimin. Because the Muslimin, and some of them have imprisoned us, have confined us in Samarra, but the Christians, they understand our miracles, they understand us. Other benevolent actions you see of Sayyidah Fatimeh, again, when you want to understand someone, you understand them through Holy Quran. In Surah Al-Insan, verse 8, verse 9, when Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein alayhi salam were sick, And you see that Rasulullah advised them to, why don't you, Imam Ali, make a vow, nadhr, as a family, so that when they recover, you fast. And something teaches us that if sometimes you're sick, you want a need, make a vow, make a nazr. A vow that I will fast for 3 days. They fast for 3 days. Quran mentions they were fasting, and for iftar, a yatim comes, a asir comes, for example, a miskin comes. Miskin is someone who's in need. Every time they're fasting and it's time to break their fast, one person comes, according to one of the traditions or sources, they give their own iftar food. They give their own iftar. Many of you, of course, you fast. Imagine how hard it is when you have your iftar. Sometimes the iftar is late. People want to cause commotion. Imagine giving your entire meal for that night only to have water and fast again the next day. Only to have water and fast again. Their eyes became so hollow. Interesting thing about this, if you notice, all of Ahlul Bayt alayhi gave their food. Imam Ali alayhi gave his food. Lady Fatimeh gave her food. Imam Hassan gave her food. Imam Hussein alayhi gave her food. All four. Sayyidah Fatimeh did not stop the kids and say, kids need to eat, for example. She allowed them to give their food too. For one person gets 4 types of food. And Rasulullah mentions and comes in and sees that their eyes are hollow. And then this verse comes about them, that they do it'am because of Allah. They gave food because of Allah, because of Allah. So this is another verse about the sacrifice of Sayyidah Fatimeh. Today we want to talk about the impact of remembering Sayyidah Fatimeh. 3 types. I want to divide tonight's speech into 3 types and benefits of remembering the best of the ladies. One is the impact it has in my mind, in my belief, in my ideology, when I remember her. 2 is the impact that it has on my spirit and my salvation. And 3 is the impact that it has on my action. When you look, for example, that she feeds and gives food and does such a sacrifice, gives her own food and has water instead, and her family water instead, you learn as a Muslim that, look, I need to sacrifice. I need to give. If I want to be of the Fatimiyun, those who are attributed to Sayyidah Fatimah, I have to sacrifice because my mother, Sayyidah Fatimah, sacrificed. So therefore tonight, inshallah, time permits us, and you are completely, inshallah, paying attention, and I do not have to repeat it. If I hear talking, maybe I have to keep repeating and make it a long night. But if you cooperate, inshallah, I'll go straight to the point, and hopefully you'll be in your homes in a good time, inshallah. You don't have to stay all the way to Fajr, inshallah. So that you can pay attention and everyone listen. We can go fast. Please recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The problem is some people want to stay here to Fajr, so they want to talk on purpose, maybe. I don't know. The first impact as how, as Muslim anywhere in the world, in the West, when I remember Fatimiyya, this time period which is 75 or 95 days after the passing away of Rasulullah. There's also a tradition about 6 months, there's many different traditions, 40 days, a lot of, but during this time period, one of the most mashhur and common opinions is that it's 95, which is, during this time period. The first part is that what happened? How does it change in terms of theology, my worldview? How does it affect of how I understand history? This is for the mind. Fatimiyya is very important to study for my mind, to know what happened. I want to share with you 4 categories of hadith that are not from Shia sources. They're from historical sources from the Sunnis that talk about the events, and I want to get a conclusion from this. The events, what happened to Sayyidah Fatima's house. Before I start, I want to always say this. Right now is a time period of unity. Right now when we study history or we dive deep into our beliefs, we do not want to cause division. Doesn't mean unity mean that I don't study about history? Does unity mean that I don't study my beliefs and ideology? No. Right now we see in Syria, in Sham, right now, a dangerous group, Hayatu Tahrir al-Sham, HTS they call them today, is taking swaths of land in Syria. They're takfiris, they're on the terrorist list. They're people who would kill the Shia, of course. Dangerous people. Well, who benefits from this? The enemies, of course. Have Shias killing Sunnis, Sunnis killing Shia. So when we talk about Fatimiyya, we're never doing it in a way to harm someone or to hurt someone's feelings. We are just, as mature adults, studying something to see what really happened. As how our ulama and scholars, they wrote letters, sometimes the head of the Shia, wrote letters to the head of Ahlul Sunnah about these issues with respect. So having unity doesn't mean that you have to have unity in history, doesn't mean you have to have unity in beliefs. Having unity means mutual respect, coexistence, living peaceful with one another. There are 4 sources that I want to go over tonight. One is when we ask ourselves, what happened? Let's put aside Shia sources for now. Historical sources that non-Muslims, anyone that wants to read can go to. One is Tarikh al-Tabari, Iqd al-Farid. These are important historical books. They say, 1, that they threatened to set fire to the house of Sayyidah Fatimah. They threatened to set fire. And he came to the door and says, what would prevent me from setting your house on fire? So what is the first category of narrations? Threat to set the house of Imam Ali and Sayyidah Fatimah on fire, which itself is a huge amount of sin. How can someone threaten to set on fire just a normal Muslim's house? Now imagine the best, Imam Ali and Sayyidah Fatimah's house. The daughter of Rasulullah, after she has just lost her father, just threatened to set on fire. So this is the first. And pay attention, please, because you need to share this with your community, with your children. Because if you ask people about Ashura, they know a lot about Ashura. But if you ask about Fatimiyya, what happened, they do not know the details. This is evidence. Tarikh al-Tabari, Iqd al-Farid, first category, to threaten the house. 2, the second group of narrations is carrying a torch. Carrying a torch. And the tradition has that they came forward. At that time, they came, وَمَعَهُ فَطِيلَةٌ فَتَلَتْقَتْهُ فَاطِمَةٌ عَلَى الْبَابِ. He came with a torch, with something to set fire. Not only did they threaten, in this narrations, and this is in the books that you read in, different books. For example, Ansab al-Ashraf. Those who study history, they know these names. This is from Ahmad ibn Yahya al-Baladhuri, who died around 279 after Hijrah, a person who would go to the courtyards of Mutawakkil, some of the Khulafa. He would go. And his book is a renowned source of history. Ansab al-Ashraf Baladhuri. They had a fatila. He had a fatila, a torch to set fire. And Sayyidah Fatimah alayhi salam comes, don't wait for me to recite, the musibah. Then if you feel like crying, please be free and keep us in your dua. Sayyidah Fatimah comes towards the door. فقالت Fatimah to this person, أتراك محرقا علي بابي. Do I see you're setting my house on fire? قال نعم. Yes, I'm going to set your house on fire. So the second tradition in Baladhuri, Ansab al-Ashraf, if you ask historians, it says this is number one source. This is a prime source in history. That he had a torch to the house of Fatimah. Third, you see in Mu'jam al-Tabarani, that you mentioned, the first Khalifa admits he did 3 things. He wishes he didn't do 3 things. One of them he admits, فَوَدِدْتُ أَنِّي لَمْ أَكُنْ كَشَفْتُ بَيْتَ فَاطِمَةَ وَتَرَكْتُ. I wish I did not open the door of Fatimah, opened her house. So some say in history, okay, they threatened the house. They had a torch, they didn't do anything. Mu'jam al-Tabarani. Other sources say, I wish I didn't do it. Break open the house. How can you break open another Muslim's house? How can you break open Sayyidah Fatima? When we come and do ziyarah of Ahlul Bayt, we get ghusl, we get wudu. How much hudur qalb we have just to be allowed to get close to their graves. And they're not alive, their graves. And they come and break open the house. This is history. Where? Mu'jam al-Tabarani. Fourth source, that if you argue with someone who's Salafi, Takfiri, say you end up being in Syria or somewhere where you are, I don't know, and you argue with them and say, this happened, you say, Ibn Taymiyyah, who you respect so much, who you call Shaykh al-Islam, who wrote 8 volumes against us, Shiism, 8 volumes against us. He even says, admits, Ibn Taymiyyah says, Innahu kabas al-bayt. He broke open the door. He broke open the house. Kabas al-bayt. So these are 4 categories of narrations: threatening, 2, having fire to ignite the torch, 3, admitting to doing it, 4th, in another source, that he did do it. So there's no argument. These are just a few sources from Ahlul Sunnah, not even our sources. Some argue with me, so why do you present Sunni sources? Are Shia sources sufficient for us? Yes. Shia sources are sufficient for us. If it's in Al-Kafi, in our books, you don't have to bring Sunni sources. But sometimes people say when they argue and they want to have their ideology strong, they say, well, let me look at both sources to see history, what happened. So this is for those who also want to look at that. Now, what is the implication of this? What does it mean for my belief system? Because we're saying everything we do should have an impact. We do something for a purpose. What does it mean that Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam was abused in this way? Once when I was in, maybe you heard this story from me or not, this was from a long time ago. Maybe, I don't want to say how old I am from this story, but it was after World War II. But anyways, it was maybe about in 2006. 2006, some of the youth weren't even born then, probably. 2006, I was performing Hajj, and I had a lot of energy to debate and argue. I was the one who went to Hajj with this many books to argue. I have really brought serious a lot of books, and I came back with boxes and boxes of books to argue. And I had all these flashcards, in my pockets and ready. So I kind of was looking to pick a fight or something like that. And usually when we go to Medina or Mecca, a lot of people, they feel intimidated by the Salafis, Wahhabis. They put them down, they argue with them, So I kind of was looking for this stuff. And I went to one of these homes, they call these little kiosks or places. They command the good and forbid the evil. I went to one of those, and 2 of the sheikhs were there, Salafi sheikhs from Saudi Arabia were there in Medina. And I had questions, and I would talk with them, for a few hours, and the students were there. I was very careful that I wouldn't say this is my beliefs, because if I said it's my beliefs, I'd probably be tortured and executed right down there in Baqi. They say there's an area, torture and execute. I didn't feel like being tortured and executed, so I'd say, this is the belief of the Shia. This is what they say. Can you answer it? One of the second days, another sheikh came that was higher than these other 2 sheikhs. And he says, I am the teacher of Aqaid and Belief in Jami'atul Islami, in the Islamic Seminary of Medina. He says, I have your books. I have Sheikh Tusi's works. I have your books. I read your books. I know Shias. So I presented this argument to him to see if he can answer it. And the argument is this, is a triangular argument. And it comes by Sayyidah Fatima, so you can know why when she is martyred and gives her life, she makes clear, everything Ahlul Bayt do is for a purpose. She makes clear the path for that time and is continuing to make clear the path today. The fact that you're all here, we're indebted to Sayyidah Fatima. She made the path very clear. Ayatollah Safi Golpayagani, one of the great Maraj, passed away. He says that if anyone else spoke the way that Sayyidah Fatima spoke, they would have killed her right there. Killed him right there. If anyone else did this. Because she was the daughter of Rasulullah, she could say some things. Yes, they attacked her house, the house of Imam Ali, coming for Imam Ali. But during that speech of Fadakiyah, if anyone else were to speak to them in that way in front of everyone, they would execute, they would take them away. So therefore, you see, the first tradition I mentioned, I said, do you agree with this? And tell me if this is a strong argument. All this arguments are all in Sahih, Bukhari, and Muslim. Number 1 and number 2 books of Ahl Sunnah. أما ترضين أن تكوني سيدة نساء أهل الجنة. Prophet says to Sayyidah Fatimeh, are you not satisfied that you are the chief of all the ladies of paradise? What does this mean? You know, they say maybe 80 billion people, 100 billion people have been born so far. Some estimate 80 billion, 100 billion. And there will be more in the future, obviously. We don't know how many people will come to this world. Say, I don't know, 500 billion, 1,000 billion, a trillion. From all this 1 trillion people, or at least say 80 billion today, 100 billion today, all of them, who is the highest lady? Who is the highest lady according to this hadith? Say the Fatimeh. Number 1 out of 80 billion, 100 billion from the ladies. I mean, she's the highest. So it means she does not make any mistakes. God forbid she does not commit any sin. She is sinless, because to be the best, you cannot sin. Your entire life has to be perfect, right? 2, and that is the world where, say, the Maryam is, say the Asiya is, you know, say the Khadija is. In such a world, she is number 1 according to Sahih Bukhari. I said, you agree with it? Yes. 2, I said, how about this hadith? وَمَنْ مَاتَ وَلَيْسَ فِي عُنُقِهِ بَيْعَةٌ مَاتَ مَيْتَةً جَاهِلِيَّةً. Whoever dies without having bound himself with bay'ah, without allegiance to an amir, dies the death of jahiliyyah. Okay, this is not my argument. I learned it from my teacher. What does this mean? This second hadith, which is from Sahih Muslim, means that whoever dies and doesn't have allegiance dies the death of jahiliyyah. Jahiliyyah some understands ignorance, meaning they're ignorant. Jahiliyyah is a time period where people performed idol worship. So if a person dies the death of jahiliyyah, they die a mushrik death, a polytheist death. Whoever does not have bay'ah to their amir dies the death of a polytheist mushrik. So put these two together. So far, is it possible that Sayyidah Fatimeh would not have done bay'ah to her amir? Is it even possible? If this is the death of jahiliyyah, and the opposite, she is the best in paradise, I mean, she is the farthest away from jahiliyyah. Therefore, she must have done bay'ah. Now let's see her reaction with the first Khalifa, according to Sahih Bukhari. Again, I don't want to offend anyone, just going to read Sahih Bukhari. That's it. فَوَجَدَتْ فَاطِمَةَ عَلَىٰ أَبِي بَكْرٍ. Wajadat means she became angry. She became angry with Abu Bakr. فِي ذَلِكَ فَهَجَرَتْهُ, in this affair, and kept away from him. If someone is your amir, do you do bay'ah and submit, even if you're angry, say for example, do you still submit to them? You do bay'ah, you listen to them. You can't keep away from them. He's your amir. Continues, فَلَمْ تُكَلِّمْهُ. She didn't speak to him. She didn't speak to him. Is that you follow your amir? You don't become, for example, separate from him, not talk to him, until when? حَتَّى تُوَفِّيَتْ. Until she died, she passed away. She was angry, kept away from him, and what? Did not speak to him. If she is, and she is the best Muslimah, if that it was her amir, she would submit the most and follow him the most. Even if it was a personal issue, if we forgive him, so you are the amir, I was whatever you say, we listen to you, I will support you. So when you take these three together, you understand that her amir was not Abu Bakr. That her choice was not Abu Bakr. From these three, very clearly. So on the day of judgment, you say, who is my amir? Imam Ali alayhi salam or Abu Bakr? You say, I choose the path of Sayyidah Fatimeh according to Sahih Bukhari or Sahih Muslim, for example. In her history, that I follow, say, Imam Ali alayhi salam. So it's very clear from this that Fatimiyah disproves these two systems, Khilafat or Imamah. If Khilafat is disproven, then by process of elimination, Imamat is left. Imamate is, there's only two schools of thought. Khilafat, that people choose their Khalifa, and the first was the one they say people chose. We don't agree with that necessarily, but it wasn't from God. They chose, he came about. Or the other path is that Allah chooses an Imam who has knowledge of God is infallible. So the other Imamat path is the correct path. Peace be upon Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. What about the spiritual significance? So that is about theology and choosing imam. The other topic that we want to talk about, benefiting how does Sayyidah Fatima impact my life, is my spiritual life. How much does she affect my soul? There's different traditions. I'm going to share a story from Musa ibn al-Qasim in the book of Al-Kafi. Musa ibn al-Qasim comes to Imam Jawad. I'm going to try to make it fast because it seems like you're paying attention, so I'll make it faster for you. He comes to Imam Jawad and he has a question, and his question is this: can I do tawaf around the Holy Kaaba and give that gift to you or to your father, for example? Can I do this? It's a question. Can we do this? Can you do salat and then give the gift to somebody else? Is that polytheism, shirk, or not? No, it's not. Because I'm worshiping Allah, I'm giving a hadiyah, a gift. You can do this with Quran, you can do it with salat, you can do it with tawaf. Very good. If you have parents who have passed away, do salat, give a gift for them, or even make up their salat for them. No problem. It's very good. But who are you worshiping? Allah. So he says, yes, it's permissible. The Imam, paraphrasing, says, yes, permissible. He goes, time period passes, he comes back to the Imam and reports what he did in Mecca. He says that something came to my mind after I asked this question: can I do tawaf for Ahlul Bayt, for the Imams? He says, the first day I did tawaf for Rasulullah. Second day I did tawaf for Imam Ali. Like the whole day I would do tawaf, gift for Rasulullah, gift for Imam Ali, for Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, all the way the 10th day for you, Imam Jawad. Is the Imam of the age frame was Imam Jawad. So far Rasulullah and 9 Imams is 10th day. Sometimes I would do tawaf for Fatima, your mother Fatima, sometimes I wouldn't. I didn't have a special day for her. I would have a special day for Rasulullah and all the Imams. Sometimes I would have tawaf and give a gift for Sayyid Fatima, sometimes I wouldn't. If it's us, how would we answer? Say, very good, mashallah, Allah accept. Ahlul Bayt, they're all one light. Nukulluhum nurun wahid, they're one light, very good, mashallah. The Imam corrects him here and has a statement that because he chose all the Imams of Rasulullah but didn't have a special day in Al-Kafi for Sayyidah Fatima. He says, Istakthir min hada, do this abundantly. You said Sayyidah Fatima giving gifts to her, doing tawaf. Do this abundantly. Istakthir min hada. فَإِنَّهُ أَفْضَلُ مَا أَنْتَ عَامِلُ إِنشَاءَ. This is better than what you are doing. This is the best thing to do. Do this abundantly for Sayyidah Fatima. Tradition in Al-Kafi, for Rasulullah he did it, for Imam Ali did it, for the Imams he did it, for his Imam of the age, Imam Jawad he did it. But Imam Jawad alayhi salam says, do abundantly for Sayyidah Fatima. So there's a mystery. There's a special significance, a spiritual significance in remembering her. There's a special shafa'at, an intercession that she has. When you look at the traditions, and you look at the shafa'at that she has, the intercession that this holy lady has, you see that it is the day of judgment, and all the creation are there. They ask Sayyidah Fatima in hadith to enter heaven. Of course you would want to enter heaven. That is where all the barriers will be removed, all the blessings, the pleasure of worshiping Allah, seeing Allah, everything will be in heaven. Especially when someone is mazloom in this world, they want to go to a place, a beautiful place. Tradition has, hadith has, she does not enter heaven. Why? Because you all know the answer. Because she's a mother. How many of you, your mothers, cared for you so much more than themselves? Imam Zainul Abidin of Risalatul Huquq talks about the mother, that she will be in the sunlight so her child can be in the shade, for example. Things like this. She provides, the mother provides from the fruit of her heart. She provides food where nobody else will provide, the nutrients that a mother gives, and how much a mother protects her child, and how much your own mothers, think of your own mothers and the mothers that are present here, that they will sacrifice everything for their children. So Sayyidah Fatimeh alayhi salam, our mother, doesn't enter heaven because she's concerned with the Shia. She doesn't want to go because she's concerned maybe they will be punished. She waits before entering heaven. The hadith is this. She asks Allah, Jibreel asks, Ya Fatima, sali hajatak, ask your request. And she says, Ya Rabbi Shi'ati. What about my Shia? What about my Shia before I enter heaven? فَيَقُولُ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ قَدْ غَفَرْتُ لَهُمْ, I have forgiven them. Your followers, I've forgiven them. But she asks again. This is how mothers are. They ask again. Ya Rabbi Shi'atu Wuldi. What about the Shia of my sons? What about the followers of Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein? How about them? Allah says, قَدْ غَفَرْتُ لَهُمْ فَتَقُولِينَ Ya Rabbi Shi'atu Shi'ati. Sayyidah Fatimeh says, what about the Shia of my Shia? The followers of my followers. Maybe you can understand this, that sometimes people maybe weren't necessarily at their lives, the time of the Imams, the times of the sons of Sayyidah Fatimeh, times of Sayyidah Fatimeh, maybe they were following the Shia of their time. Maybe they were following the ulama, the Sadat of their time. And they were following them, tamassuk bi Sayyidah Fatimeh through them. They were following their marja, taqleed, their mujtahid, mabsut al-yad, who had power. And they followed them. It says, Shi'atu Shi'ati. The followers of my follower. فَيَقُولُ اللَّهِ انْتَلَقِي. Go forth, go forward. فَمَنْ اعْتَسَمَ بِكِ فَهُوَ مَعَكِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ. Go forward, because whoever connects and grabs your robe, grabs onto you, will be with you in heaven. You're with you in heaven. Not only will be in heaven, will be with you. Being with Sayyidah Fatimeh in heaven, and Imam Ali in heaven, and Rasulullah in heaven is different than going to heaven. Because some people will not have that opportunity of visiting Imams, of seeing Imams all the time. Maybe it happens every 100 years or something to see the Imams. But some will be the neighbors of Rasulullah. Some will be the neighbors of Imam Ali. Some will be with them, Sayyidah Fatimeh alayhi salam in heaven. Then everyone gets astonished, because this is, I said, those 80 billion people, 100 billion. Everyone is watching this. Everyone who has ever created is watching this. What do they wish now? They're saying, wait a minute, everyone's being forgiven. غَفَرْتُ لَهُمْ, I've forgiven them. Then the tradition has, فَعِنْدَ ذَلِكَ يَوَدُّ الْخَلَائِقِ. Everyone, all of creation wishes, أَنَّهُمْ كَانُوا فَاطِمِيِّينَ, that they were Fatimi. Everyone wishes they were attributed somehow to Sayyidah Fatimeh, because they get saved, salvation of Sayyidah Fatimeh. This brings us to the third aspect, and we'll be ending with this third aspect, and that is to be Fatimi, Fatimiyun. Maybe you've heard this in the tradition. It says Fatimiyun. What is someone who is Fatimi? Who are the Fatimiyun? I believe that someone is Fatimi means that Fatimiyya is Ashura. There's books about this. Fatimiyya is Ashura. She fought against oppression. She fought for walayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, gave her life for the truth. But it's still different than Ashura. Ashura, Imam Hussein alayhi salam had 72 companions, 100 companions. Imam Ali alayhi salam asks, he says, whoever is ready, paraphrasing or according to the books, shave your heads, get ready. Only a few, handful came. Those that came to bury Sayyidah Fatimeh were only a few. Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, Salman, Miqdad, very few. The Fatimiyun during her time were very, very few, were less than the companions of Imam Hussein. And the danger that they faced was more dangerous than the time of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So to be Fatimi means when you are only a handful and you're going against everyone else. So therefore you see that during today, if somebody is going to be Fatimi, that means they will need to be the most courageous, most brave, and most willing to sacrifice for Islam. These are the Fatimiyun. Because you see today, those that are fighting against oppression, fighting against genocide, fighting against what things are happening, they're fighting against a very powerful army, very powerful people. And they have to be of the Fatimiyun and to accept that they're going to do what is right. And being Fatimi means I will die in the path of Allah, but my message, my blood, will send this message. Will send this message of truth and will fight against falsehood. That's what Sayyida Fatima, that's what Fatimiyun means. To be in a way to fight against oppression, to fight against injustice, to fight against misguidance, dalalat, misguidance, and for the future to know what is right for the future, to be on the right side of history. May Allah inshallah make us of the Fatimiyun, and that is how Sayyida Fatima, in remembering her, affects us in our mind, our beliefs, in our salvation, our spirit, and also in our actions, so that inshallah we can be of those who sincerely work for Ahlul Bayt, alaykum salam, peace of Allah, salat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa They asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam about the tragedy of Karbala. And we say, La yawm yawmika ya Aba Abdullah. No day is like your day. But the Imam, when mentioning in tradition about Fatimiyya, about this time period, he says that it is bitter. It is bitter. Imam Hussein was in his 50s, 60s when he was shaheed. No day is like Ashura. But your mother said the Fatima was 18. 18 years of life. Very short life she had. But lots of barakat. Lots of barakat, meaning that she had a life and she influenced the world in a very short amount of time. After these attacks that they have done, multiple attacks to her house, 75, 95 days, she is in pain, suffering. The traditions have, and I apologize for you, the Sa'adat, those that are Sayyid, I apologize to the Imam of the age. The traditions talk about her being mu'assabatul ras, that her head was covered. Rawiya annaha, that say the Fatima, your mother, was mu'assabatul ras, always tied a handkerchief to her head. Because of her injuries, she would cover a handkerchief on her head. Nahilat al-jism, her body was weak. Munhaddat al-ruk, she could not stand up anymore the 75, 95 days. Baqiyat al-ayn, her eyes continued to cry. Muhtaraqat al-qalb, her heart was on fire. Yuqsha alayha sa'a ba'da sa'a, a time period she would pass out and faint, and then she would stand up again. She would pass out and faint. During this time, Asma comes to her. Apologize. During this time, Salama comes to her. Ibn Shahra Ashub narrates and says, Kayfa asbahti an laylatik ya bint Rasulullah. How did you wake up, oh daughter of Rasulullah? قالت أسبحت بين كمد وكرب. I was in difficulty, great difficulty. But what is her difficulty? Is say the Fatima complaining about her broken ribs? Is say the Fatima talking about her bruised arm? Is say the Fatima talking about her aborted son Muhsin? She says, two things I'm crying. I could not sleep basically. I woke up in karb, in difficulty, because of these two things. Faqdun Nabi, that I miss my father, I miss Rasulullah. وَالظُّلْمُ الْوَسِي, and the oppression of Amir al-Mu'mineen. This is more painful than my broken ribs. This is more painful than the harm in the arm that had become whipped. They come to say the Fatima's house, the tradition has. At that time, she was standing in front of the door Allama Amini says she came to answer the door. Maybe that they would have shame, maybe they would have haya. When they barged into the house of Sayyidah Fatimeh, she was behind the door, they say. And the nail comes and pierces the chest of Sayyidah Fatimeh, the chest that held the secret of Allah. She was pressed between the door. At that time, they say the door was on fire. And he comes, he kicks open the door. And he throws the door upon me. I ask you this question. When the door is thrown upon Sayyidah Fatimeh alayhi salam, and she is pregnant, somebody mentioned that she was trying to hold on to the door, but would hold with her head because she's a mother and doesn't want that pressure to go on her stomach because she's pregnant. She's holding on to the door with her head. When they break open the door and throw the door upon her, I ask you this question, she's underneath the door. How does a mob of people enter a door when Sayyidah Fatimeh is under the door? They might have walked on top of her, they might have walked on top of her, crushing her body. This is how our mother, Sayyidah Fatimeh, was shaheeda. Between the door and wall. Inna lillah, inna alayhi rajiun. Ya Allah, we ask you, because of the madlumiyat of this shaheeda, this pure shaheeda, Allah, answer all of your hawa'ij, inshallah. Everything that you want that is good for you, inshallah, Allah grant you right now because of Sayyidah Fatimeh. Have mercy upon your departed, your family members who have departed, your friends who have departed. Give shafa to all of those who are sick. Give them cure, inshallah. Many people are sick. I truly believe in how effective these majalis are. Pray for the sick. Ya Allah, keep us on the right path, inshallah. Allow us and our children to remain under the umbrella of Sayyidah Fatimeh, inshallah. Give us the salvation and shafa'at of Sayyidah Fatimeh. Allow her to save us from the hellfire, inshallah, with Allah's permission. Ya Allah, we ask you to protect the shrine of Sayyidah Zainab, Sayyidah Ruqayya in Syria. To give, inshallah, peace to Syrians, Lebanese, inshallah, Palestinians, and throughout the Muslim world, inshallah. Give victory to all of the Fatimiyun and those who are attributed to Sayyidah Fatimeh against oppression, inshallah. May Allah make us of the companions of the Imam of the age and expedite his return with his salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
برادرای عزیز، آماده میشیم برای عرض هدف و عزاداری به مناسبت شهادت بیبی مظلومه، بیبی دو عالم، بی فاطمه زهرا سلام الله علیها. انشالله بیبی فاطمه زهرا شب اول قبر به فریاد همه ما و شما برسد انشالله. انشالله صفا را منظم کنین برادرها، عرض ادب میکنیم.
یا الله کسایی که مصیبت میکنن لطفاً تشکیل کنید.
دل غریب من از گردش زمان گرفت، با یاد غربت زهرا شب بهانه گرفت. شبانه بغض گلوگیر من کنار بقی شکست و دید از دلش خاندان گرفت. کنار پنجره دیدگان پراشکم، سراغ مدفن پنهان و بی نشان گرفت. نشان شعله و درد و نوای زهرا را توان هنوز ز دیوار و بام خانه گرفت. غریب مظلوم زهرا صلوات. پیشخانی نوها فاطمه. از نهاد علی خیزد این زمزمه، از نهاد علی خیزد این زمزمه. کشته شد بی گناه محسن فاطمه. فاطمه 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 فاطمه. نخل گلزار وی فسرا زد صدا، نخل گلزار وی فسرا زد صدا. میوهش با لگد شد ز شاخ جدا، میوهش با لگد شد ز شاخ جدا. فاطمه 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 فاطمه. یا محمد ز خاک سربرا رو ببین، یا محمد ز خاک سربرا رو ببین. پاره پی کرد گشت نقش زمین، پاره پی کرد گشت نقش زمین. فاطمه 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 فاطمه. جای یاری بدا من یاور زدن، جای یاری به من یاورم را زدن. دست من بسته بود امسرم را زدن، دست من بسته بود امسرم را زدن. فاطمه 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 فاطمه. امسرم را در این آستانه زدن، امسرم را در این آستانه زدن. با چه جرمی به او تازیانه زدن، با چه جرمی به او تازیانه زدن. فاطمه 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 فاطمه. تربتت را بش شستشو می کنم، تربتت را بش شستشو می کنم. بی تو مرگ از خدا آرزو می کنم، بی تو مرگ از خدا آرزو می کنم. فاطمه 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 فاطمه. شمعمو بینجمی بی صدا ماندم، شمعمو بین جمع بی صدا ماندم. تو چرا رفتی و من چرا ماندم، تو چرا رفتی و من چرا ماندم. فاطمه 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 فاطمه. غریب مظلومه بیبی فاطمه زهرا صلوات.
از جور زمان بس علی غمگین بود، چون فاطمه را زدن از غیرت سوخت دردی که بکس نمیتوان گفتن بود شیعیان شد باز ایام غزای فاطمه شد غزای فاطمه شیعیان شد باز ایام غزای فاطمه شد غزای فاطمه پس بیایید گریه کرد از ابتلای فاطمه ماجرای فاطمه شیعیان شد باز ایام غزای
فاطمه
شد غزای فاطمه شیعیان شد باز ایام غزای فاطمه
شد غزای فاطمه
در غزای فاطمه ای شیعیان زاری کنید خون دل از دیدگان روز و شبان جاری کنید اهل بیت مصطفی را در عزا یاری کنید بزم غم برپا کنید اینک برای فاطمه شد عزای فاطمه شیعیان شد باز ایام عزای
فاطمه
شد عزای فاطمه شیعیان شد باز ایام
عزای فاطمه شد عزای فاطمه
در عزای بانوی این گونه با قدر و جلال حلقه ماتم زنید ای شیعیان با صد ملال مرد و زن بر سر زنید در این عزا با شور و حال گر شما را هست اندر دل ولای فاطمه شد عزای فاطمه شیعیان شد بعد ایام
عزای فاطمه
شد عزای فاطمه شیعیان شد بعد ایام
عزای فاطمه شد عزای فاطمه
رفت و عاشورا سفر بگذشت شور دیگرت این همه ماشور شور مبره و عطهرت این می ماشور عاشور بطول عطهرت پاشو گویم این مات عاشور پرشورش ترت گریم و گویم همی از ماجرای فاطمه شد عزای فاطمه شیعیان بعد ایام عزای فاطمه شد عزای
فاطمه
شیعیان شد بعد ایام عزای فاطمه شد
عزای فاطمه
گر نمی زدن در این ما خصم به شرم و حیا شعله آتش به درب خانه خیر النساء در می عاشور شبر به حیا در کربلا کی زدی آتش قیام اقربای فاطمه شد عزای فاطمه شیعیان شد باز ایام عزای فاطمه شد عزای فاطمه شیعیان شد باز ایام عزای فاطمه شد
عزای فاطمه
بارا گو پیمبر که غلی جان من است بجاون غربو اسم محمد صلوات
السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا نبي الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين السلام عليك يا حسن ابن علي المجتبى السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنار ولا جال ولا الآخر الأهدي مني لزيارتكم السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين زين العابدين. السلام عليك يا محمد الباقر. السلام عليك يا جعفر الصادق. السلام عليك يا موسى الكاظم. السلام عليك يا شمس الشموس وعنيس النفوس، أيها المدفون بأرض التوس، يا سلطان خراسان يا أبا الحسن. السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الجواد. السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد الهادي. السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي العسكري. السلام عليك يا مولاه يا صاحب الزمان يا خليفة الرحمن يا إمام الإنس والجان. الأجل الأجل الأجل، الأمان 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 من الفتن الزمان جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانهار إن شانئك هو الأبتر برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. الفاتحة مع الإخلاص وقبلهما الصلوات.